I'm Christian from 1082R. This is our world's high hang bot. Starting with the base, we ran a 450 on the 2.75s, like basically everybody else did. This was good. It gave us a really good acceleration with our kind of more heavy bot. And we ran 2 raised wheels with the flex wheel ones for crossing the barrier, which helped us kind of not jump up it as much, and it made a more smooth transition. As well as that, our sleds were tangent to the barrier itself, so it would make the crossing a lot better. Our better part of our robot that we didn't really get to utilize as much as we wanted was our intake. So with our intake, starting off with it, we had this big old wedge on the very top of it, which would, if intakes kind of had that angle to where they were either bigger or they had that angle with the bigger intake sleds and had a high angle, our intake would go underneath theirs and pop it up. And if they didn't have anything that kind of held the tri-bar more in place, the tri-bar would just fall out. And when they backed out, our intake would come down before theirs would, because it was lower since we raised theirs up. And we'd just be able to intake it like that. So another thing with our intake is we had a one-time trap door, which if you look in right here, what this lets us do is at the start of every match, we just take this band all the way at the other side of the robot, and we hook it around like this and set it under. And what this allows us to do is in auto, we can intake it like that and it'll get stuck for scoring. But in an actual match, what we can do is we can just drop the trap on top, outtake, and it'll knock down the trap door. So that way, after that, we can intake up this high. And what that allows us to do, our trap door, after it goes down, can actually lift back up with the intake by using a rubber band that's mounted on it. So when it lifts up like this, it holds the tri-ball in place as it goes up, making it way harder for other teams to steal from us. I don't think there's a single time a tri-ball is actually able to get stolen by us, like ever in the entirety of Worlds. And then for our slapper, which we don't have right now, it would go right here, and the slapper kind of worked with our hang. We would use one of the motors off the intake, since we had 2, and we'd stick it right on the side right here. And our slapper was just made of full metal. It was really heavy, and we put it on top. And it worked with our hang, which would start in based off of this pin right here, which would hold our 3rd stage. And then we'd have the other 2 stages held in by the pistons on the side. And this was really good. It gave us more space for that slapper, which we weren't really able to use because we weren't able to get a lot of skills time. But it all comes up like that, and everything is kind of banded released. So we have 3 total strings on our hang. We have 2 that are just for winching it up, and then we have a 3rd one that what happens is as it gets winched, it pulls up on the string like this because of the pressure of it, and this one will pull up our hang into place so that we would get H. And as well as that, we also had a passive A-tier hang just in case if like our alliance had a high tier or whatever. So actually lining it in, if you look at the pole itself, we had liners that would kind of catch the pole here, and when we started, it would catch the pole here and then it ride up and it'd hook around the pole like that. And after that, we just hit our PTO and then we run up, and that would get us H tier. And I mean, the lineup was pretty good at Worlds. We did have to add a couple of things, and we had to take off all of our slapper for it, but it worked out really good. Unfortunately, we were only able to make it to quarterfinals though.
One thing I forgot to show in the other video was the custom brain screen UI that our coders made. So this shows off our odometry facing to where like you can see like what angle it's facing after it runs through the code. We had our motion algorithms, which showed off our boomerang and like pure pursuit and the motions that they were going through. We had Robot Central, which was really nice in testing and driving because it showed off all the motor temperatures just from a button, so we didn't have to go in and check like the individual ones or guess by feeling them. And then the last thing we had was the auto selector, which was really easy compared to like using a limit switch or using those rotation things where you just kind of turn it. And this is really nice because it just made it easy for all of us to kind of get the auto stuff. But yeah, this was also really, really good in interviews. we would show it off to the people there. But yeah, good luck in Roundup.